Welcome to another episode of Connect, where we go beyond Sunday. This is an interactive talk show where we integrate the Word of God to real life issues. Continue connecting with us through the comments section. Subscribe to our channel, Parklands Baptist Church. You can also share this particular episode with friends and family and invite them to benefit from this message. Today we have Winnie Tanui with us in the show.
Thank you.
Coach Winnie. And you know that when we have Winnie in the house, we are talking about issues around our emotional well-being.
Yes.
Our emotional well-being.
Yes.
And today we are having a very interesting topic. This episode and the next one will be talking about healing from grudges.
Mm-hmm.
And today we just want to take some time to unpack what a grudge is.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us could be in grudges and we don't know.
At the moment, yes. It's common. It's a common thing.
Yes. Or something is happening in our lives and really stressing us up. Simply because of grudges.
Yes, some of them could be 20, 30 years old.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine what a weight.
Yes, it's a weight. It's a burden.
Yeah, or a load that can be.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was thinking about this topic, I was wondering, can Christians hold grudges?
Oh yes,
you know?
we do, sadly.
So that really somebody may think this is not a subject for me.
You know, the beauty about some of these things, you know, they are hidden. So we can oil our faces and come to church and smile, but deep inside, these are those emotions hidden. But I think it's time we think about really getting them out. And it is unburdening ourselves so that we become light. As Paul said, we run light.
We run light. Oh yes, putting away the sin.
Yeah, the heavy.
The burdens.
And actually the emotions deep in, these are the heaviest burdens. Yes.
That we can carry. Again, when I was also thinking about this, I kept thinking, well, maybe grudges are not for close relations, you know? Like, for example, can somebody have a grudge and carry it in a marriage situation?
Oh, yes, a lot.
Or in a family situation?
Because, you know, sadly, the people who hurt you are the people close to you.
Okay.
And you see, many of us have unforgiveness towards members of our families. Because remember, the people who are out there, and you see what we do when we meet people out there, we put on our best face. When we come to church, we are at our best. But the people who really know us are the people who are in our household.
Yes.
The people we are likely to brush one another are the close people. So actually the grudges mostly we hold against the people who we love so much.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, the other reflection I was also having is the issue of time. You know, sometimes we say that time heals. And thinking about a grudge, and I know we'll talk about, you know, how to heal from grudges. And, you know, somebody thinks, let me just let this matter with time.
Yes. A grudge, I think, leaves a scar. It leaves a scar. And, you know, this is not a physical scar. It's a scar inside. Yes.
You know, I was thinking probably not just a scar,
but a wound.
You know, it's actually a wound.
A wound that is covered.
That is covered.
Yes.
Because a scar has the connotation of a wound that is already healed, but it has left a mark.
Oh, yeah.
So that if you have a wound that is not healed, though it is covered,
it is
any little irritation or, you know, a scratch or something can resuscitate the wound and sometimes even make it worse from what it was.
You can imagine something pricking a wound.
Yes.
Yeah, pain.
The pain that will come.
Yeah, so, and we said, I think in this program, we've said the emotional pains are like physical pain. The reason why we hide them is because they are not seen. They are inside. But the effects are just like any other wound. They hurt. They bleed. And then they become a sensitive point where anything else that was even unrelated, touching it. So somebody suddenly becomes so hungry and what? Because there's something that hasn't healed. And that is what we carry, all of us. Many of us carry around, But I think it's about time we heal them, really.
And again, I think talking about wounds, sometimes I think physical wounds may heal faster than emotional.
Because we take care of them. Why do they heal? We take care of our physical wounds. We dress them. We put whatever antiseptic and all this. Yes. Then we bandage it.
Antibiotics, by the way, they're also useful. If you have a wound,
they heal.
You can get a prescription, an antibiotic.
And because it's something you see, you're willing to take time to heal. What happens to our emotional wounds? We hide them.
Okay.
And now we are hiding them in the environment. I think they continue becoming more septic. We don't attend to it. We hide them. And that is why they cause so many of these problems. And I think some of the other issues like relationship, why really we cannot work well with people, is the burdens we carry inside.
Emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is interesting then, that we'll be talking about healing from grudges. And we welcome our listeners, our viewers to engage with us. And let's see how we can walk this journey. And just to let them know that we are available beyond the episode.
Connecting is beyond.
It's beyond the episode that we are actually available. Somebody can reach out to us through Parklands Baptist Church, and we are able to walk with you and help you in your very specific issue, because in this show we will be a bit general, but then we can have a one-on-one and try to help someone. So talking of grudges, what really is a grudge? How would we describe or define what a grudge is, just to help us?
A grudge is when you don't let go of feelings of anger. So we talked about emotions. So it is the feeling of anger and resentment. Somebody does something to you. It's a wrong thing, yes. I think we can use the example of somebody even just stepped on your toes. I mean, it's not nice. Why would somebody really want to step on you? It doesn't feel right. But now what happens is that if we hold to this anger for long, then it turns into a grudge. So that by the time even you think about this person, you just feel disgusted. When you see this person, you wouldn't even say hello. So all those people you don't like saying hello to, you are holding a grudge against.
Oh, yes. That's very interesting.
Because you are holding, and remember, this is a moment. Somebody stepped on you. It might last only 90 seconds. But now you've kept this moment, holding it all your life for 20 years, so it's actually holding a memory of something that you didn't like, and keeping that memory so current that you are carrying with you every day for 20 years, for 10 years, for 60 days. That is now grudge.
So I read that really it's not simply the magnitude of the issue or the magnitude of the event. As you are saying, it could be a small friction of 90 seconds. It could be something done to you over a period of time.
I repeat something.
It could be as small, or in terms of magnitude, it could be as small as somebody stepping on your toes.
Yes.
But it can also be as big as somebody taking your livelihood.
Yes.
We've had different episodes in life, what I would call micro and macro. We've even had episodes in our country, for example, in Africa, where tribes have grudges against
one tribe,
other tribes,
because of an event. Remember, these are tied to events.
Yes.
Events.
So that's macro.
Yes. And sometimes, anyway, some of them are sad events, really.
Sure.
And some of them are events that happen to you mostly when you are young and you're vulnerable and you didn't have anything you would do. Because this could be adults who violated you as a child. But you see, the idea that you her carrying that, we are not dismissing the idea that something bad happened to you, but you holding on it is where we are calling it a grudge, because what you are seeking in your heart is seeking revenge.
Yes.
How do I make up for what somebody did to me? It happens, and it happens to almost all of us. Yeah.
So actually, the event may have, in some situations, the event may have little or no consequence in the present.
No, in fact, even all those events don't have unless you hold on it.
So the event may have little or no consequence in the present, but out of it, there is something that is eating you, which is now the grudge.
The grudge, yes. So it's like taking an event and keeping it present.
Yes.
It's like something happened in the past. It should be in the past, but we are carrying it and you're holding it in front of you. So it is actually the worst bit, I think, about that. Somebody said the worst thing about something bad happening to you is for you to carry it every day. It's like you are repeating the event every day. It is actually, I think that is the saddest bit, and it becomes really a burden. It blinds you, it blurs your view.
Exactly.
You cannot see anything clearly. So you only see everything through the lens of what happened. So imagine what you're doing to yourself.
And with that then kind of a definition or understanding, it begs the question then, why would people carry grudges? Why would people really want to replay? You keep replaying an event.
Yeah, that happened.
And sometimes when you see that person, in fact, it becomes like vivid.
Yeah, it triggers.
And it pains quite a lot. Why would people want to keep replaying that?
I think it is the way we use our mind. Okay, it is a good thing actually to do that in one hand, because remember how we use our brains. We use our brains for two things specifically. One is to survive. You have the work of the critical work of any brain, of any living thing. It's not only human beings. First of all, you have to be alive.
Yes.
So anything that caused you trouble, caused you trauma, that almost threatened your life is something that has to be kept very present. Why? We want to, the brain wants to make sure we avoid a repeat of that event, because you have to be safe. So that is the survival bit. It's very important for you as a person, because if it was, for example, a lion that attacked you on a certain road, every time, or a snake really, that you saw a snake on a certain path, what happens every time you use that path? You have to the brain has to remind you, beware.
Yeah, beware.
There are snakes around here.
Yes.
That is instinct, and it is survival. It is good, but that is not the only way to use our brains. Yes. Now, as human beings, we have another way of using our brains: creativity and going beyond survival. That is why we are humans, and I think that is why we are stewards. So if we stick to fear, to using fear, because it's actually fear-based. Why? We just want to avoid trouble. And many of us live on fear-based. We just say, you see what, mimi, staki shida. It's a fear-based sort of living. Okay, it's keeping yourself safe, but by keeping yourself safe, the question is, what after that? What happens after? Yeah.
So there is the survival bit.
Yeah, there's a survival bit, and that is why you have to be reminded.
But you don't want to live on survival.
No.
There is also the fear bit. Again,
and fear is tied to survival.
Yeah, that will be crippling.
It does.
All right. So that because you want to survive, there are people you will always base your relating to someone on an event.
Yes.
When I interacted with so and so, this is what happened. And so when you keep that, you want to stay on survival.
Yes, and you're putting yourself now in a box.
In a box.
Yes.
And then you also are afraid. Though it was long ago, you are also afraid that you would not want a repeat
of that event.
Same.
Yes.
But then you're also bringing in a very interesting perspective, that of creativity.
Yes, we have to go beyond survival, because as human beings, I think the stewardship bit of being a human is not based on strictly survival. So, okay, now that you survived anyway. That event happened. Thank God you survived. Whatever it was, some are small, as we said, some are really big.
Sure.
Some you might need even intervention of a counselor or a trained person to help you really walk around some events because they were traumatizing. But whatever the event, the idea of holding to that event means you're tied to an event that happened. And we said it blurs your view. All your life suddenly is just based on, you have the lens of that event. And we're saying that is too much burden. And that is not the right way to use your brain and your life. Yes.
And in terms of, again, just looking at, you know, that holding of grudges, it feels like it may get somewhere, at a certain point, it sort of becomes part of your personality.
Yes, it does.
You know, so that it sort of becomes a soothing point or a bargaining point of sorts, seeking validation.
So
you know,
many
things
other
like
things,
those.
yes.
Don't you realize this was done to me?
Yeah, to me, yeah. So it is like, guys, please understand.
Yes.
So it's like, I can get away with this because why? Something happened to me. So you are using the fear base to try and now negotiate yourself. That means you've, do I say married? I'm not sure if that's the right word. You've brought an event, married it to yourself.
Yes.
Suddenly it is part of you.
Yes.
And that is what we're saying. That is the worst bit about holding a grudge. So it is like a bad event happened to you, and now you've brought it, now it is part of you. So you're using it to seek validation. It becomes, you use it to say, you see, if you meet somebody that looked like somebody who stepped on you, suddenly I don't like that person because they remind me of Pastor Kiniti and stepping on me. Everybody who looks like
Pastor Kiniti who stepped on you.
There, I don't like them. So imagine you've cut yourself even from people, from maybe relationship. Maybe this is what would have been the potential husband, but because they kind of look like my uncle who did ABCD, I don't like them. So you imagine you're now, it's like boxing yourself because of a circumstance. So even new relationship, everything now you're basing on one
this
particular
event.
Yes.
I am glad that so far in our ministry through Connect, I have not stepped on you.
Please don't. At least I'll not hold a grudge.
So
I
that,
know how to let go.
But you know, grudges, we also see grudges presented in scripture.
Yes.
And one of the, very detailed sort of a grudge in scripture is one between brothers.
Oh yes, we said it is very close.
So when we talked about how close it can be as close as family. And the point that you made is so important, that many times, and I think this almost cuts across, the people who hurt you the most are people closest to you.
Yeah.
I was reading another article concerning issues of rape, for example. And this writer is saying the people who tend to perpetrate rape cases,
sexual violence
and abuse, most of them are closest.
Yes, they are close.
They are not strangers. It could be a neighbor who hangs around. It could be a relative who sticks close, And so I think it's just important to say that sometimes we may think these things are far-fetched. Even in terms of grudges, majority of them could be within people closest to you. It could be within the work environment, especially when we go to the work environment.
Yes.
The people you spend most of the time, because if you are an 8 to 5 worker, you can imagine 8 to 5.
8 hours of your
Those are 8 hours of your everyday you spend with a team of people. And so if you're not keen, you may end up developing a very toxic environment for yourself where you stay.
Sure.
So coming back to the scriptures, the story of Esau and Jacob is covered quite detailed, in a detailed manner. In fact, it occupies Genesis chapter 25, verse 19, all the way to 28. Then there is a small break when Jacob flees from home. And then now in chapters 29, 30, and 31, we have Jacob out there. We don't hear much of Esau. And then in chapter 32, Jacob prepares to come back to meet his brother. And then in chapter 33, they reconcile. And you can imagine, those are 25, 26, 27, 28, 32, and 33. Those chapters are talking about Jacob and Esau, and a big chunk of it was in a grudge situation. And maybe we can look at what then does this do? I think a number of things. The first one being that grudges will lead to self-destruction.
Okay.
Self-destruction.
And I think, Pasi, before you go on, I think it's important to say the start of this grudge was actually, if you are anybody on Esau's shoes, most likely all of us would just behave like Esau. I mean, really somebody really stealing your birthright.
Yes.
I mean, that is really something. So the grudge, we said it can happen. Actually, the cause of grudge could be something, a wrong that somebody did, because apo alichezwa vibaya.
Yeah. So again, that is very important. Rightfully,
there was
whatever was done was wrong.
Yes.
But then what this starts developing into, past the event, it now starts developing into something that is affecting Esau past the event.
Interesting.
And the first one is self-destruction. Because when you read chapter 27, verse 41, this is like the height, at the height of, this grudge developing.
Bitterness, yeah.
The bitterness. This is what Esau said. It says Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing of his father, because of the blessing his father had given him. Now, because of holding this grudge, this is what he said. He said to himself, the days of mourning my father are near, then I will kill my brother.
Wow.
So the grudge is slowly turning Esau into a murderer.
As in, he's the wrong person, but now he's getting him into more trouble. Imagine, it's like a victim, you're becoming a victim, but now it's creating more trouble for you as a victim.
Exactly.
Yes.
And remember at this point, Jacob is already planning to flee. So the person to whom this thing remains biting the most is Esau. So you can self-destruct or enter into self-destruction when you hold a grudge, whether you are the one wronged or you are the one, or you are the victim.
Yeah.
You could be the victim, but because of holding that grudge, not only do you suffer the pain of a victim, but now you enter into a self-destruction mode. Wow. That's the first thing he does. The second thing he also does is that he starts making wrong life decisions. Because when you read chapter 28, verse 6 and 8, he realizes that Isaac had advised Jacob not to marry from among the Canaanites. The Canaanite women. It actually says, now Esau learned that Isaac had blessed Jacob and had sent him to Paddan Aram to take a wife from there. And that when he blessed him, he commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite woman. And that Jacob had obeyed. Look at all this. What Jacob is doing seems to be doing the right thing. Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and had gone to Paddan Aram. Then Esau then realized how displeasing the Canaanite women were to his father Isaac. So he went to Ishmael and married Mahalath, the sister of Nebaioth and daughter of Ishmael, son of Abraham, in addition to the wives that he already had. So this is a life decision. Marrying someone, can you imagine pegging a life decision like marriage in order to make someone else
feel the pain.
Yes,
sadly, that is actually the work of grudge.
That is the work of grudge, self-destruction.
Yes.
But also, secondly, of course, we see it strained relationships. For about 20 years, Jacob and Esau never saw eye to eye.
The two brothers.
Actually, about 20 or more years. But I would also imagine what was the relationship then between Esau and his father.
I'm sure he was not happy. That's why he said, okay, I'll just go and marry these women.
Exactly.
So that you see.
Exactly.
As we said, njo tuone.
Yes.
Njo tuone what
so
you will
that
do.
you will know.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, the burden of the decision faces, the wife is Esau's wife. It is not Isaac's wife. The one he has married and is not accepted, and it diverts him from God and takes his heart away from God. The effects are not on Isaac. As much as he felt they wronged him, the person now taking the consequences is the person who is the victim in the story. And that is what grudge does. Yes. It makes you more victim. It creates other negative issues apart from the event.
Yes. But finally, I see a ruined destiny. So again, he marries a Canaanite woman. Then this act alone cuts his descendants from God's blessings. They become the Edomites. You know, God, of course, took the land of the Canaanites and gave it to the Israelites. These are relationships. This is a brother and a brother. And then there is tension. For the rest, after the father, after you know, the patriarch, Esau and Jacob, the destiny of their descendants.
The Israelites and I don't know, the
Israelites and the Edomites. They are called the Edomites. Okay. Right? They are in conflict throughout. And then finally, we see because of this, the Edomites act in disobedience to God for the rest of their life. Look at their destiny. Their destiny is completely curtailed because of Esau holding a grudge and, you know, going into self-destruction, allowing strained relationships and ruining destiny.
Sadly. We
pause it there on rather sad note, but it's really a reflective note. That though you could be the victim, a grudge can send you into self-destruction, a grudge can send you into strained relationships, a grudge can destroy or ruin a destiny that is so precious to you. This has been Connect. In the next episode, we will be looking at how to heal from grudges. Until next time, God bless you.